resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Well, hello, my friend. Welcome to the Artist Next Level podcast. I am super happy that you are here with me today. I don't have a guest today. It's just me. It's just a conversation between you and me about collaborations. That's what I want to chat with you today. You know, have you done a collaboration recently? Maybe this is something that you might want to put on your list for 2020. You can kind of like be on the lookout for things to do or people to connect with. So hopefully this episode will help you out. If you have collaborated with other people in the past, hopefully also will give you some more insights. And if you have never done it, maybe it will kind of give you that little enticement of wanting to do it maybe for 2020. So I want to share with you, my friends, this idea of collaboration as a way of creating momentum, right? One of the things that has, been part of my art practice since day one pretty much is really working with other people. I really enjoy working with other people, also connecting with other people. And I think maybe that's what I do, the podcasts and the videos and the shows and everything else, because it's all about people, right? It's all about connecting with others. And I think there's a certain synergy that happens when you get to collaborate with other people, when you get to, work towards a goal with another individual or a number of individuals. So, collaboration, it just makes total sense for artists. I think it's one of those things that I value a lot, one of those things that I look forward to do as well. So in this episode, I want to give you some tips, some ideas, some things to watch for, when you're collaborating, some things that maybe, you haven't thought about when collaborating or were looking for collaboration. So let's start first with the idea of why I think collaborations are great. Well, first of all, before talking about the tips and so on, I think collaborations are great because, you get to put the best of you in combination with the best of another person to create something amazing, right? To create momentum, to create something powerful, something that otherwise yourself you could not do alone. And that's kind of a collaboration is all about, right? It's about bringing two or more people together to bring the best of themselves towards one goal. At least that's how I see a collaboration. If it's not that, then it's not really a collaboration. Then it's maybe one person doing things for others, or maybe one person teaching another person how to do something. But it's a really true collaboration, in my opinion, is one where two or more, again, bring the best of themselves towards one specific goal, right? There's one specific outcome that is pursued through that collaboration. And I think that's what makes it magical. That's what makes it amazing, because when two or more are together working and sharing ideas, then amazing things happen. So that would be kind of like the reason why I think collaborations are important, are valuable. Also, another reason is because as artists, a lot of times we do the art ourselves in the studio, many times alone. And, sometimes we don't have other people in which we can really sit down and have deeper conversations and, really throw ideas back and forth on a particular specific subject. And when you collaborate with someone, you're going to have a lot of brainstorming, right? A lot of back and forth, throwing ideas. Let's do this. No, let's do that. Or how about we do this? So, the compound power of those back and forth ideas, it becomes something amazing, something that perhaps yourself you could not do. So that's another, great reason why collaborations, I believe, are so important. Another one that I think is also worth mentioning here would be just the fact that when you collaborate with someone, there is a really nice sense of momentum, because you can create a bigger you can create more noise, if you want to call it that way, right? If this idea of creating more noise, because you have a network of people, the other person that you're connecting with has a network of people, and when you add those both networks of people, that starts becoming something of a much larger scale. Everybody knows somebody, right? And so when you collaborate with others, your network of people now becomes much larger because the other person brings his or her network of people. So I think, if you have never done collaborations before, I hope this episode kind of will encourage you to do that. Now, how I have collaborated in the past, well, I have done collaborations in many ways. And when I think about collaborations, I'm not just thinking artists with artists. It could be an artist with, a business person. It could be an artist with a brand, where you are collaborating with a specific brand towards something. Or it could be an artist, with a poet, or an artist with a musician, or an artist with a scientist, which I have seen as well. Great collaborations of artists and scientists working together. An artist with a non-for-profit organization. I have interviewed a number of artists here in the podcast who have collaborated, right, with a non-for-profit organization because his or her work of the artist, has a certain subject that is perfect fit for a non-for-profit, and they work together towards this big goal, and the artist is a big part of that. So again, that's a form of collaboration. And you can also collaborate with another artist, in putting together a show, or putting together a pop-up event, or doing a like open studio event on a weekend, right? Or doing a marketing campaign, or collaborating on a series of works, or etc. There are really countless ways in which you can collaborate with other people, and it is really, really fascinating, the amazing things that can happen. So I have done it many times. I have collaborated with poets, where sometimes the poet begins with the ideas of the poetry, and then I respond as an artist reading the text, or vice versa. I have also collaborated this actually last year. I did a collaboration with Swan Yang, which is an amazing musician based in LA, but she's also very much connected to Chicago. And we created this fabulous live art performance. It was in an intimate setting. It was in my gallery studio. We invited a number of people, and they came, and we had such a great time. So she played while I made an impromptu piece, right? A drawing, sort of drawing/painting. And it was fabulous, right? It's something that I could have not be able to do myself on my own, because it was this kind of connection and collaboration that created, in a sense, in a way, the art itself, and then the presence of the people that were there. So I have done that. I have also collaborated with other artists. For example, a few years ago, I collaborated with a good friend here from Chicago, a great painter, Mark Slokowski. We worked together on an exhibition because he does abstract painting, and I was doing more figurative abstraction. But the way we both kind of depicted light, there were a lot of similarities. So, in our conversations, we thought, why don't we organize an exhibition together, the two of us, and, about kind of we work with light, right? Even though our work is different. But so it actually came out into a beautiful exhibition, which then once we had the first one, we're like, oh, this went really well. Why don't we continue the collaboration and we continue working? And now let's create a proposal. Let's send out proposals. And actually that became a traveling show for the next 3 years, which was fabulous. We had all kinds of exhibitions, and it was amazing. We met so many people, worked with many galleries as well, and it was really, really cool. So again, that was a way of collaborating, right? Of saying, hey, you got something, I got something. There's some similarity here on a specific part of it. Why don't we work together? And so it was amazing. We had a great time. Another year, I think last year, was it last year? Yeah, I think last year or 2 years ago, I collaborated also with an artist from Miami area, Claudia Henao. She is a glass artist. She does amazing, beautiful glass work. And I've always been in love with glass, but I don't do glass. I'm a painter. And, she really responded to my paintings, and I really responded to her glass work. And so we started chatting and talking. And, that conversation came into this idea, why don't we collaborate and do a project together? So we actually did. I did some designs that were based on my paintings, and she also use those designs to be inspired for her to create some beautiful glass pieces. We created a series of plates, and it worked really cool. It was really awesome, again, to be able to see my work in a different medium, inspired, how an artist took that and also brought her own inspiration into it, make something so unique also for her, and vice versa, right? For her to be inspired by my work and respond to that and create this collaboration. So, these are just a sample of some of the ways in which I have collaborated, as an artist with others as well. And I have done it also as a brand, collaborating with a brand to do certain things, and that's been pretty cool too. So again, there's many ways in which collaborations can take place, and they have been very good for me. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you must consider when you are going to collaborate. If, let's say, 2020, you're like, well, maybe this year I want to collaborate with somebody, right? What should you look for? Well, I'm going to give you some tips here, kind of some suggestions, some advice that you can use if you want to collaborate with someone. Well, first of all, the first thing I would say, in my experience collaborating with other people, it's always very important that you collaborate with someone that you can get along with. I think, to me, that's kind of like big priority. If I'm looking at collaborating with someone or with a group, can I get along with them, right? Can we have honest conversations? Can we have dialogue, right? Is that person available that we can connect? So that is super important, right? Is there that good dialogue? Do you have the respect of that person, and vice versa? Do you respect that person, right? So there must be that chemical connection, right? That it just feels right to connect with that person. Because the truth is that you may respect somebody's art or somebody's project, and you may want to collaborate with them, but then that might be a person that you just get along with, or that you feel connected with. So that it can work, but it might not be as pleasant as when you actually enjoy working with a person. And you know what that means, when you actually work with somebody that you enjoy that person's presence, even if it's a distant presence, through a conversation that happens overseas. One of conversation that was very meaningful to me that I did many years ago was with an artist in Germany, which was an awesome collaboration, where it was through an organization that I got connected with her. Her name is Petronila Hohenwart, is a German artist, and so we were connected. We didn't know each other. We were connected just through social media, and so we had conversations, and we created a project in which we collaborated, and eventually we actually met in person multiple times. Even after the project ended, we still stay as friends, and we also had other projects together way after that one, just because that closeness, right? So again, you want to make sure that if you're going to collaborate with somebody, that you feel that there's that open dialogue, that you feel good about working with that person. So it is super important. So when I look at collaboration, that's at the high top of my list. And even, for example, and I'm not saying that it even has to be somebody that for a long time, right? It could be something that it just feels right. Somebody that just feels right connecting with. Now, another thing that I would recommend if you are looking at collaborating with another individual is to, from the get-go, think about, what is this collaboration going to look like, right? What is this collaboration going to look like, right? Very important. Understanding the implications of the collaboration, understanding the responsibilities of each person, right? If it's more than two people, sometimes that can get a little more complicated, but if it's just two, what are your responsibilities? What are mine? What are you doing? What am I doing? Right? That is very important. From the beginning, have those conversations. What is the goal of the collaboration, right? Because sometimes what it may happen is the person who approaches another for collaboration. So the person, let's suppose that, I want to collaborate with you, and I say, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we collaborate together? So I have already in my head a vision of what this could look like, but you, who are the receiver, who you just heard about this, you're like, huh? So it's my job as the person who initiated this idea to start the conversation of what I envision, to see if that's what you envision as well. Because if I'm envisioning something and you're envisioning something totally different, it's not going to work at the end. It's not going to work well, or there will be conflict in between. So from the get-go, that's great advice to just start talking about what is this going to look like, right? So that if we both see the same vision or a very similar vision, then it will make things a lot easier. It will make things a lot more meaningful. It will make things also in a way that any problems that come along the way can be resolved because both people have, a similar goal in mind. So that's another one that is very, very important. Another one is to, when you're looking at collaboration, another word of advice there for you, my friend, is to also think about, particularly if you are creating an object or a number of objects, so what's going to happen at the end with it, right? If we are doing an art collaboration, who's going to keep it? Who's going to keep what? Who can sell it afterwards, right? Or if we sell it, who gets what? And that is an important conversation because that could, again, prevent some misunderstandings at the end. It was really fun and great to do the collaboration, but then at the end, now somebody wants to buy. It's like, okay, wait a minute, I put more hours than you did, or I put this. And so that could lead into, some kind of bad taste, experiences. So to avoid that, you want to figure that out. For example, in my experience, things that I have done, for example, the collaboration that I did with my friend Claudia Henao, where we did the glass and the art together. At the end, what we did is we made an edition, right, of certain number of pieces, and at the end we say, okay, we're going to divide the final output, right, all the artwork. So each one of us gets half of it, right? You get half, I get half. So with your half, you can sell them, you can, put them on shows, you can do whatever you want. And I'll do also with my half, I can do whatever I want. I can keep as many as I want for my collection. I can sell the others, I can show them, so each one, we agreed we have our set and it's ours, right? So at the end, we kind of put all the artwork and through Skype, or something like that, or FaceTime, I don't remember, we selected, okay, I'll take that one, okay, I'll take that one. And so we ended up with the same number of works, and it was really awesome, right? We were both happy, and, we can continue working and have, that part of the collaboration. So, that's one example, right? Where you want to have a specific, idea of what you're going to do with this thing when it's done and when it's over, right? In the case of, for example, when I do a live performance or like the one I did last year, also looking at, okay, so are we going to do this for free? Is it going to be tickets? How are we going to divide the cost? And also not only the cost, but also how are we going to divide, the earnings from the project, which, you want to also have those conversations, right? Because as you look at a collaboration, one person may be doing part of the collaboration and putting a lot of money into it, and the other person may not, right? So, you want to think about, how all that will work out. Now, when it comes to collaborations, some things that you may want to keep an eye on, some things that you might want to think about here, some red flags, for example, that you may want to look for, right? If you have this idea, hey, I want to collaborate with somebody, so I, talk to that person. Here's or somebody talks to you about collaboration. Here's something that to think about, right? That I would suggest. That's a red flag. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it's worthwhile to wait. For example, right, when one person wants to be the hero of the collaboration, right? Maybe there's two people collaborating, maybe there's 3 or 4 or 5, but the one person wants to get all the glory, right? Wants to be the show star, the hype person, right? So you have to be careful with that, because then that person it's all about me, right? The collaboration is to support my agenda, to support what I want, but everybody else is secondary. So that is really not a collaboration. You're just helping somebody to, get more notoriety. So you gotta be careful with that kind of attitude. Another thing that you want to look for is when you end up doing all the work, then that's no longer a collaboration, right? You approach somebody with an idea, say, hey, let's collaborate. And the person says, yeah, let's do it. But at the end of the day, you end up doing all of the work or most of the work, and the other person just gets the benefit. So again, that's not really a collaboration. So you gotta be careful with that as well. And those things you can catch on early on, right? when you set up deadlines for what each person needs to do, then you can say, well, that person is not really coming across with meeting the deadline. So red flag, right? Have those conversations early on to make sure that, it doesn't become something that's just going to end up really bad. So that's another red flag, right? Another red flag that I would mention too is when the collaboration, there's not enough communication, right? Like you send messages and the person don't answer, right? You send text messages, the person don't answer. You have phone call, the person doesn't pick up the phone, right? All these things, are also, kind of things that could hinder a future collaboration. So, all those things, you just gotta keep those in mind. You gotta keep thinking about, what this could look like, what this could do to you, right? If you are the one just always pushing the wheel and the other person is just kind of crawling along, but not really invested in the collaboration, right? A collaboration, again, should be, two or more people bringing the best of themselves for the common good, right? That's how I would describe a collaboration that works as a successful collaboration. Another thing that I want to say about collaborations is, when you are working with other people and, decisions are made, that you always keep them in writing, right? Even if it's a text, save those texts. Even if it's, the emails that have that collaboration, keep those agreements saved somewhere so that if there are discrepancies in the future, and say, well, this is what we agreed on. Here's the text that you sent me. Here's the email that you sent me, right? Have those things there. Now, sometimes you may want to create an agreement, an actual collaboration agreement. And there are collaboration agreement templates that you can download from the internet. Just do that. Just go to Google and say collaboration agreement template. You will find some. Then you can bring it to an attorney to just double check, depending, especially for bigger collaborations, things that really require a lot of your time or money or things into it from both or more people. So, an agreement kind of helps everyone to stay on track, helps everyone kind of understand, what are the implications for not doing, what he or she agreed to be part of, right? So those are important, and those are very much recommended, particularly, when it's a more complex idea, something that's long-term, something that, do that, you don't always have to do it. If it's something that is not that big of a project, it's something that you have to judge, right? You have to judge yourself. I cannot tell you do it or not do it. You just have to judge yourself and feel when is it appropriate to do so. But for sure, always save all the conversations so that those conversations kind of have a way to always go back and say, well, no, but this is what we agreed on, because, we all have sometimes memory issues, right, where we forget what we say sometimes over the phone or over a conversation. But if it's written somewhere, we're like, oh yeah, that's true, I said that, right? Okay, yeah, that's true, I said I was going to do that. Or, oh yeah, that's true, you said you were going to contact the press release, right? Or etc. So those things can help save a lot of headaches in the long run. Now, when you're looking to collaborate with somebody, here's another also kind of a tip or idea I want to give you. When you're looking at collaborating with somebody else, right? Maybe you have this great idea, like, I want to collaborate with such and such artist. You have this great idea. Well, just because you have this great idea doesn't mean that the other person is ready, and it doesn't mean that the other person is interested, right? Or that the other person has the time to do it. It may be the greatest idea in the world, and it may make total sense for you, but that person may not be, such a great idea for that person, or may not have the time, or may not be able to do it at this point. And so don't get discouraged when you bring, hey, this idea of collaboration and nothing happens. Sometimes it can happen. An artist sends me a message through Instagram, hey Sergio, let's collaborate. Well, to tell you the truth, right now I just can't, right? I'm totally booked. I have right now other things that I'm working on. Collaboration at this point is not possible, right? So you have to also understand that these things can happen to other people, right? And it may happen to you that somebody approaches you and it's just not your time, right? So you gotta be respectful of other people. Also, here's another very valuable piece of information: is a collaboration must benefit everyone involved in the collaboration, right? A collaboration is not one that you say, okay, I want to do something and this person can help me, so I'm gonna ask him or her to collaborate with me because it's gonna benefit me, right? And sometimes it's not a conscious idea. We just see the opportunity and we want to be part of that opportunity. But you also think about, how is this collaboration going to benefit the other person, right? The other person, which is very important. Now, through collaboration should have mutual benefit to everyone involved. That's why it's a collaboration. Otherwise, you just need to hire that person for something you want done, right? Which is very different. So don't use the collaboration to try to avoid paying somebody for their work, right? Let's collaborate on something, but you do this for me and it's awesome, right? But what's in it for that other person? So think about that too. At the same time, when you're looking at collaborating with somebody, sometimes, you may want to approach somebody who has a bigger profile than you, and so, or more experience than you may have, and so the collaboration might not take place because for that person, it may not be possible to collaborate with you. So again, all those things are important. And the one thing you can all do is we can all ask, right? Ask. And in my experience with all the collaborations that I have done in the past, having very specific, I've only collaborated, with very specific people over the years. I don't overly collaborate all the time. In other words, I may do maybe 2 or 3 collaborations throughout the year. And that's it, right? I don't want to be busy running in circles with so many projects and things, so I can get what I need to get done myself, right? So you gotta understand that. You gotta be careful with that as well. And my friend, at the end of the day, have fun with it. At the end of the day, it must be enjoyable. If you're gonna have a great collaboration, it's gonna be one that's going to be totally enjoyable, that's going to be really fulfilling the process and the end product, right? That's very important. So I hope this episode kind of helps you out to think about collaborations in a new way, or maybe helps you to think about a collaboration you may be at right now where it's not working, where you see those red flags happening, and maybe this is a time to say, you know what, let's chat about this. I'm not feeling it right, or it doesn't seem to be working. And it's better to end it or to pause it early versus later, right? And then have bigger problems. So thank you, my friend, for listening to this episode. If you enjoy it, please share it with a friend. Don't miss next week's episode. It's gonna be super powerful, super cool. In the next episode, I have a wonderful conversation, which is gonna be awesome. You do not want to miss it. A wonderful conversation with Rebecca Wilson. Rebecca, she is the head curator for Saatchi Art. So if you all know, I'm sure you have heard of Saatchi Art online. So she is the head curator for Saatchi Art, and she's going to be with us, and she's going to talk about, how to make your best use of Saatchi, what Saatchi doing today to bring collectors and all those things. And you'll be surprised at some of the great tips that she's going to present to all of us. So don't miss it next week, my interview with Rebecca Wilson. And my friend, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next level.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.